had told me that she saw a huge shadow, but it was starting to get dark, so she couldn't exactly make out what it was. I didn't see anything, and it got to the point where I just wouldn't come out here anymore because the sounds freaked me out. Around that time, there was dogs getting eaten and people seeing this weird, like, huge monster thing that wasn't on 2 legs, it was on 4. And then people started seeing that they saw a really big animal that looked like a Black Panther, or it had barbs on its back and stuff like that. So people brought back up the Bolivia Beast.
You're listening to the Cryptid Creatures Podcast with Todd and Brian. If you've had an encounter and want to be on the show, email us at info@cryptidcreatures.co or leave a message at 888-5-DOGMAN.
This is the Cryptid Creatures Podcast. I am Brian, and with me as always is my co-host Todd. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Have you ever heard of the Bolivia Beast?
I had not till Kari got a hold of us.
Right. Kari's coming on tonight to talk about the Bolivia Beast, somewhere in North Carolina, I believe.
And I dug into it and found that it was a Monster Quest episode years ago.
Cool.
So that was fun.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
I'm sure her encounter wasn't fun, but I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear, so let's just bring her on.
Me too. Yep, let's get her.
You ready to get started?
Yeah. So from what his dad said, he can't remember if they were out there camping or if they just got done hunting. But they were all sitting around a bonfire out in the woods, cleaning out their guns, just, I guess, getting ready to pack it up for the night. And one of them was hooting, like making noises and stuff. Something made a noise back, and he kept doing it again. He kept making noise back, and they were getting closer. And his dad looked at him and was like, okay, that's enough. You can stop now. And it kept getting closer and closer. They kept messing with it, hooting, and then it would hoot back. And one of them, either his dad or his buddy, had the bright idea to shoot towards there. And then I don't know, evidently it started running towards them, breaking shit and throwing it. And so they all just dropped their guns and ran. There was like a broken down bug or beetle, and they had stopped beside it, and I guess were catching their breath. And the guy who was hooting decided to do it again, and they heard it like right there on the other side of the car. They all booked it. I don't think I would have dropped my gun. Yeah, no, that was stupid on their part, huh?
Yeah.
Really shouldn't. If there's something out there it is chasing you, you'd think you'd take your first line of defense with you.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, for sure.
No. They were just like extra baggage, drop. For me, it was me and my friend out here, little ways out, and I want to say it was a good 8 or 9 years ago. She was staying out there on the main road, and the woods was behind her house, and it was probably about 6 o'clock, so it was right before the sun actually set. And we were out there just messing around in the woods, being stupid, smacking trees with other tree branches, just making noise and climbing on stuff. And out of nowhere, I have no clue where this came from, just a big branch, probably the size of like my arm, just came flying. And like, I can't say I actually saw something, but she screamed and ran, and she was looking behind me. So I just booked it. Like, I was like, if she's screaming and running, I am not looking back here to see what this is. I'm just going to go. And you can hear stuff all the time out here at night. In fact, half the time I don't want to go outside after dark at all. Just because you get this creepy feeling just even looking at the woods. But I honestly could not tell you.
What was it that was it your father-in-law you said?
Yes.
Did anyone see anything? Do they know what it was that they saw? Was it a Bigfoot? Was it something else? What are they thinking it was?
See, I was thinking it was more Bolivia Beast, not Bigfoot. Because around that time, there was dogs getting eaten and people seeing this weird, like, huge monster thing that wasn't on 2 legs, it was on 4. And that was in Bolivia, and where they were at was behind the old zoo in Bolivia. So, and the only time anybody ever brought up anything like that before that was like 100 years before that in Barnum Town, I believe, which is in the Green Swamp. I would say it's a good 35 minutes from Bolivia would be the entrance to the Green Swamp.
You're in North Carolina, is that right?
Yes. I'm right here on the coast of North Carolina.
Is there a background? Is there a story to this Bolivia Beast? What is it? What's it look like?
So I'm not sure about the original story, like from 107 years ago. I tried looking it up, but you don't really get much but a couple paper clippings of like this dog-looking thing that was bigger than a dog, about the size of a car, with spikes on its back. That's what you get from the newspaper clippings. What people were thinking some 10, 15 years ago when it popped up again, I think it was like 10 or 15 years ago. So what they were thinking this most recent time that it popped up at first was that one of the animals got loose and that it had been roaming around before the zoo closed down and everything. But the rangers, I guess, said no, there's no cougars or not cougars, jaguars or lions or tigers loose out here. And then people started seeing that they saw a really big animal that looked like a Black Panther, or it had barbs on its back and stuff like that. So people brought back up the Bolivia Beast, and that's where it went on from there. But I mean, we even have a field back here where if you go out there sunrise or sundown, feel like something's staring at you, and you'll see like drag marks across the cornfield and everything. When it's not planted, like you'll see like something drugged something, but nobody's actually caught anything. My husband has set trail cameras everywhere and hasn't actually managed to catch anything, but he has had one of his trail cameras taken off a tree and chucked like a good, I would say like 400 yards away from said tree.
Really?
And there was pictures with like the fluid damage as it was traveling. Nothing on what it was. So I wouldn't really be able to say for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did your father-in-law or the guys that were with him describe the sound that they were hearing? Like, what did it sound like?
Well, he can do it better, but he was like, one of them was going, hooting like, woo, and then something else would just go, woo, back at him, I wasn't there, so I can't say for sure if it was like guttural or anything, but high-pitched woo, I guess. The best bet I got. I don't know, this place just creeped me.
With the throwing of the limbs and whatnot, I would almost think that you might have a Bigfoot creature roaming around there, possibly as well, if not both of these things.
You would think if there would be more, I don't know, sightings or people saying, hey, this is what's out here, than there actually is. You know what I mean? Like, you'll get it towards the mountains, but never down here towards Green Swamp area. Towards Green Swamp area, you get things like, oh, I saw a cougar, or oh, I saw a wolf, when neither one of them are in this part of North Carolina. You know what I mean?
Maybe you got a skunk ape.
Maybe. It could just, whatever it is, could just be hiding out there in the Green Swamp and just manage to make its way out here and then bring back out because of logging that's happening out there. So, because they do have a lot of logging trucks out there in the Green Swamp, but it is also a bear sanctuary. So you're allowed to go hunting out there, but only for deer. But I've heard people say skinwalker and stuff like that. Just stuff when I go trying to mess with people, But that wouldn't make sense either. Because it doesn't smell like something died. So it can't be Wendigo. And then
it's not that.
More Central America, isn't it?
Skinwalker's more southwest, more.
Yeah, more towards like the center
and Native American.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Wendigo, I mean, you would smell it before you saw it.
Yeah, Wendigo's more northern Canadian.
Yeah. So it's like, although my friends told me about seeing these white shadow things. He's bent backward, but I don't know how much of that is true. I even looked it up. I never heard of a cryptid or a ghost or anything paranormal that's like that.
Have you guys ever found any kind of like weird structures, tree structures, fort type structures around where you guys are? You guys out in the woods quite a bit where you're at?
Oh yeah.
You're right in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, you look like you're in a campground right now or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, this is where I live. This is the house over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
But it's nothing but woods out here. It's a good 2 miles back into the woods where the house is. So I did find like a full bunch of limbs and stuff leaned up against a slaughterhouse out there in the woods. But I'm not too sure if kids went, oh, I'm going to stay in here, or if something's like, this will be my house now. You know? Because I think it's like 40, 50 years old. It's still got the dried blood and everything in it too. A slaughterhouse out there, right out in the woods. But right next to it is a bamboo grove, which I guess somebody planted there a long time ago and nobody touched them.
Bamboo. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's weird. I got yelled at by a guy for going back there and messing with it.
Huh.
But
must be something more than bamboo growing in there.
Must be. It's the best way to hide it, I guess.
Yes, I guess.
But I don't know, from things that I've heard, and just, I mean, you walk outside, you hear branches breaking off in there, but there hasn't been any bears or anything out here, or deer or anything. My husband goes hunting, so done went and scared all of them off, you know. And you'll come out at about midnight-ish, and you'll just hear like the cracking of what sounds like a whole tree, because they're not that big. The trees are maybe like arm's width around, so it sounds like a whole tree falling, but you don't see one falling. You know what I mean? Right.
Well, something's got to be causing that. It's not just they're not just dying and falling over on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we got one. Let me see if I can see it from here. You can see right up there. There's actually scrapes at the top of those trees that make no sense.
Scrapes.
They weren't
like
hit
scratches.
Scrapes like something completely peeled the bark, but it's like a good 10 feet up in the air.
Okay.
Where like something grabbed a limb and just peeled it off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get the feeling that something's just watching you around your home there?
Oh yeah, that's why my husband doesn't use a tripod out there in the thing anymore. That's what I was talking about earlier, was you go out there in the early morning or right before sun sets, and you feel like something's just staring at you the whole time you're there. Even when you get up in the tripod and you set up for hunting, you just feel like something's just steady. And
you said that he had put a trail cam out and something ripped it completely off the tree, and
he put several trail cams out, and one got ripped out of the tree and just like good 250 yards away from him. Yeah.
Was it broke or just the strap?
No.
Okay.
The strap was undone and it was gone, but that's the thing. It didn't catch what it was.
Well, and a person wouldn't do that. They wouldn't have dropped it and left it lay. They're going to take it, right?
Well, they would have taken the SD card out just in case.
Yeah.
But it had pictures of it moving, like facing toward the ground, the sky, and then on the ground.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. It was dragging along the ground, like it was taking pictures of that?
No, like when it was when it was thrown, you could see.
Oh, okay.
Like all as it was moving. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But it didn't catch a picture of what it was.
So something threw it.
It chucked it.
Bears can probably tear this stuff off the tree.
But they would have gnawed on it.
They can maybe snap a small tree in half, but they're not going to throw it. No, they're not going to.
Yeah, but a bear would have tore that camera up.
The black bears out there in the green swamp, they come up and they sniff it, and then they leave it alone.
Interesting.
Sniff it, gnaw it a little bit, and walk away. Plus, he's not leaving it at like eye level either. He's putting it a little bit higher above his head. And he's right about 6 foot, so he's putting it, right about maybe 5 inches above where he stands. And it's on like a tilted down branch or something. I don't know how he does it. But he says he puts it up high enough where the bears and stuff won't just come around it and be like, oh, hey, that's not supposed to be there. It won't spook the deer away.
Yeah, no bear's going to do that.
No.
Back to the Bolivia Beast. Brian, didn't you say there was a Monster Quest show about that you had seen?
There is. Have you ever heard Monster Quest? Yeah, I was
I
watching that.
watched a video on that. After I'd found out about it from him, I was like, what the heck is that? I was looking, and it actually was one of the first things that pops up, aside from one in South America. Bolivia, South America or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you first had said Bolivia Beast, I thought you were talking about Bolivia, the country.
No, Bolivia is like 10 minutes away.
So this thing, I guess on the show they called it a vampire beast. Did they show what was the dramatization of this creature on the show? Do you guys remember?
It was a big. Hang on, I'll show you.
Oh, okay. Brian's gonna get us a picture.
All right.
And maybe Kari, you can relate to what maybe you haven't seen, but what people have seen around there or claim to see, I guess.
Yeah, they've done the newspaper clippings and stuff that I read about. I watched the episode last, so like, heavy dose of skepticism.
Okay, so
that's
Brian's,
the drawing. That's the animation that they gave on Monster Quest.
It looks like a mix between a hyena, a wolf, a werewolf.
Kind of, yeah.
And some kind of cat creature, maybe? Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. From what I heard, it had like spikes on its back, but I don't know.
Yeah, those could be weapons.
Yeah.
They could be laid down or brought up, and if they're
hair standing
they feel
up.
threatened.
Yeah. A good example of that is like on the animations of the chupacabra, where they show the spikes on there, but the real life chupacabra is actually just a gray coyote wolf hybrid kind of dog with no hair. That's really all it is. It doesn't even have that.
That mange.
Yeah, something to that effect.
But people were like, their dogs were getting killed, their cattle was getting killed, but they didn't really go into specifics. Like they didn't say, it was drained of blood or anything like that, because then you would think chupacabra, But they were like, they were dead, or they went missing, and I never saw them again, In fact, I think one of the dramatizations in those episodes was somebody let their dogs out and it was bark, 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 and it stopped. But also, like, in that area, right off of McKay Road, his aunt had a zoo there that had, lions, tigers, bears, And they had jaguar, black leopard, And if you think if that got loose, that could easily do all this, and people see it at night and go, there's a monster outside,
Yeah.
It could be easily mistaken, yeah.
Very possible.
I can't say anything for the 150 year ago tale, 150 year ago tale where I don't know nothing about that. But I'm saying the most recent one, it could have easily been one of those and just been mistaken. Like there was a lady, I want to say about a year ago on Oak Island, who's like, there's a cougar outside when really it was a bobcat.
Yeah, I can see that. People exaggerate things. Yeah,
they exaggerate or they get scared and think it's bigger than it actually is.
Right.
Yeah, when people see something they're not used to, they tend to over-exaggerate it.
Or just something that just generally scares them. Think about it. When you're a kid and you see a shadow on your wall that kind of looks like a hand at night, you're like, oh my God, there's a monster at my window. When in reality, it's just a tree branch.
It's hard to say.
I don't know. And we do have hoot owls out here, so it could easily, what they heard that night could have easily been a hoot owl. They hoot and it hoot back. The branches wouldn't make any sense with that, though.
No, I was going to say, none of those animals we talked about there can throw a branch or a camera.
Rocks.
No.
Or a camera. None of those animals are tall enough to grab that camera.
You got something weird going on there.
Yeah. No, they have the brain capacity to think, I'm not going to smash it. I'm just going to take it off and throw it.
Yeah, bear would have smashed that thing right where it was.
Oh, yeah. If a bear would have gotten angry at it, never would have saw it again. Wouldn't even have the SD card in it intact.
Nope.
And if it was a person, they would have taken the whole camera or take the SD card out and then took the whole camera. They wouldn't have just left it there. So it wasn't a cheap one either. It was like $150 trail camera. And it sent pictures to his phone. It was one of those cell point ones.
Damn. Yeah.
Luckily, it wasn't broken. So I would have come.
I just can't imagine what he was thinking when he saw the pictures of whatever they looked like of that thing flying through the air.
Yeah, he's like, he called me in there and he's like, look at this. I'm like, I have no idea. He's like, all I know is I found it on the ground. Some a few yards away, and it made no sense. I'm like, no, it really doesn't, because there was no animals as it was spinning. Like, you didn't see any like outlines of a deer or anything like that. It just chucked. You know, it took like 5 pictures in the span that it was flying, so it was going pretty fast. So it took I think it took 10 pictures a second. So it didn't really take long for it to get there.
How long have you lived in that property where you're at?
I've been in this property. Well, his grandparents live here, so he's come out here all his life. I moved down here about 12 years ago from Ohio. So I've been living here with him for, I want to say, about 3 years in this area. We've lived all around the areas, but in this area specifically, it's been about 3 years. My friend lived down the road, and I knew her before I ever met him. So I would come out here all the time back then. And it got to the point where I just wouldn't come out here anymore because the sounds freaked me out.
Are you still hearing the sounds?
Not during the day. You only really notice it at night. But during the day, there's so much other sound pollution, you know? Like, you're not listening for it, and you're more easily freaked out at night. So, and plus, there's kids all the time running around. So half the time you hear a kid scream before you hear any branches breaking or anything.
What part of North Carolina are you? Is it near the coast? Are you more inland, north, south?
It's right here at the coast. Like, I'm about, I want to say, a 15-minute drive from the beach. And I'm about a 45 to an hour drive from Virginia. Do you know where Wilmington, North Carolina is? Or Southport, where Under the Dome was filmed?
Okay.
So I'm right there in that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on the Bolivia Beast? Do you think it's a real creature out there running around?
I think the description's not right. I think it was probably, cougar or whatever the heck was they had in their zoo that got out, and people see it at night and freak out. I think that's what it is. But at the same time, I mean, they haven't caught anything. The forest people, the rangers and stuff, I can't remember what they're called. Game wardens said there weren't any that got, there weren't any that got away or anything like that. None of them escaped. So it gives some credibility to it, but
yeah,
I'm more of I'm going to keep it skeptical until I see it. And then if I see it, that's it. I'm not fighting. Because the same with the bear. If a bear comes at me, I'm just going to take it. I'm not going to fight back.
That's
how you
fighting.
Want them.
So what do you think did the branch throwing then?
Honestly, I could not say. She had told me that she saw a huge shadow, but it was starting to get dark, so she couldn't exactly make out what it was. I didn't see anything because it was to my back and it went, it didn't come towards me. It went from behind me. She screamed. We both ran. I didn't think to look back because I figured if I look back, I slow down. So I'm not sure. She refused to ever go in the woods again after that. And she wouldn't really talk to me about it. Just like she would not go with me to this park in Southport because she saw something white fly towards her one night.
What did she see?
The park in Southport, she swears it's a ghost, but I don't think, it was too bright to be a ghost, It was like white, like a sheet of paper white, not like a mist type white. I think she got freaked out by a bug or something and freaked out, lighting. I don't know. Because I've been in the graveyard right across the street from there, and I got a white dog run at me, and I crouched down and screamed and realized it was a dog. But it's a historical district, so the whole area, they've got Old Brunswick Town and where a war was fought back in the Civil War, stuff like that. So they've got like the old cannons and everything out there. It could be. It could be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that park was right there beside Old Smithfield Park, or Old Smithfield Burial Ground, which has been there since Southport was Smithfield, for a really long time, right by the old jailhouse and everything. And it's one of the locations on the ghost walk they do every year around Halloween. So, could be. It's pretty old. And most of the woods around here, there's like areas where people are like, don't go there. You don't go there. That's just stupid on your part. So there's a lot of old pig slaughterhouses, silos, stuff like that, just scattered throughout the woods that make no sense. Like, there's no roads going to them or paths going to them, but they're made out of concrete.
What did you say was made out of concrete?
Like old pig silo, like old troughs and big slaughterhouses and stuff like that. But there's no roads or paths going to them. There's big trees built like all around them. Like, there's no way in and out without physically walking to it. So it would make no sense because you wouldn't be able to transport pigs there. You know?
Yeah.
Unless they're just some buried trails.
Are you sure it's a slaughterhouse? It was made to be a slaughterhouse?
Oh, yeah. The one right over here has the stalls and everything there, and you got the meat hooks and everything hanging from the ceiling. It's creepy.
That sounds like a horror
movie. It looks like, yeah, it does. It looks like it. Like, you walk in, and you swear to God, there's still, like, dried blood there. And it looks like somebody just went, yep, I'm done here, and left, and never came back. Obviously, wild animals came and ate the pigs or something, because you'll see, like, streaks going across the floor coming in and out, and it's like, was it really used as a pig slaughterhouse, or did I just walk in on a crime?
Yeah, interesting. So, do you believe in Bigfoot?
Honestly, I believe it exists, but I don't think with how much hair is on it, I don't think it would be in lower climate areas. I feel like it would be in a more colder area, you know? Otherwise, I mean, it wouldn't have that much hair, would it?
It's hard to say.
They do.
They have skunk apes in Florida, and those supposedly have hair.
Yeah. But Florida's got a lot of crazy shit.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
And people.
You name it, it's in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Even if it's not, they'll bring it there. But I don't know. I would think more along the lines of Yeti than I would Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Or at least I wouldn't think he'd be depicted the same way. I think he would have a lot less hair or a lot thinner hair. Because all the ways you see him in media and everything would be like really pooped up.
I could see it down there being thinner. Yeah. But still hairy.
Still hairy, but thinner.
Yeah.
Like, even the bears down here don't have as thick coats during the summer. So if it's something like that, I could believe that. But I think he exists, but I don't think he exists the same way we think he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. He's way up in the mountains where no man ever goes, and he never comes down this way, so to speak, because it's just not his territory. Is that what you're saying?
It would still be Bigfoot, but it wouldn't be anything like what we think he looks like. You know what I mean? Like, hair-wise, and I don't know, height would probably be the same, but I would think he'd be skinnier, not as bulky, you know?
Yeah.
In the south.
Towards the south. Now, higher up, I would think, more hair, bulkier, keep weight on for the winter and everything.
That's all the reports that we got is the ones down south aren't quite as big.
That would make sense. Just, I mean, because the deer don't get quite as big, and even if they're eating them, they're not going to get as much nutrients, you know? Right. Like, you go up north, Ohio, Michigan, that area, deer are
we got monster deer up here. Yeah, we got monster deer up here.
And down here, they're like little Bambies just bouncing around. You hit it one with your car, and walk away,
big dog.
Bye, and,
Right.
Hit one up there, and you got to replace your grill and your radiator.
Yeah, or get a new car.
I'm going to check out that episode of Monster Quest and look more into this Bolivia Beast and Vampire Beast thing. I'm kind of really interested in it. I would hope that maybe that's what you do have running around there, and maybe you'd see one or something like that down the road,
see
possibly.
One and I can get a picture and live, I will send it to you.
Okay. I'm going to hold you to that.
Yes, do that.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
No promises.
Always have your camera handy and a gun.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's got a phone in their pocket. They can always take a picture.
Kari, we appreciate you talking with us about the Bolivia Beast and what's going on in your area there tonight. Hopefully you get to
cool.
find out what it is.
Yeah. I hope so too, but I hope more I find out what it is through the trail cameras.
I don't blame you.
I can't say I blame you either.
Yeah. If I'm going to find out what it is, I'd rather have pictures, somewhere far away from me.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yep. Thanks for being here
All right,
tonight.
you guys have a great day.
All right.
Thanks, you too.
Man, I don't know. Bolivia Beast, Bigfoot, Skinwalker. Who knows what the hell that thing could be, huh?
Yeah, it could be anything, you know. Carolinas. I mean, hell, there's skunk apes that could move up that way. You know, we don't know.
Right. We'll say it's a Bolivia Beast. She thinks it's a Bolivia Beast.
Yep,
She's going to
we'll
know
go
more
with
than
that.
anybody because she's around that area. So
Yeah, she lives there.
good encounter nonetheless. Hey, I want to throw it out there to the listeners again. Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. Haven't said that in a while, so just
Oh,
wanted
yeah,
to know.
so much. Thank you all.
Brian, thank you for hanging out with me, man.
Man, always fun.
All right, until next time, brother.
See ya.